the Big Bud Shootout, featuring a showdown between 8 of the finest fiberglass-bodied funny cars, driven by 8 of the best drivers in the world that thread the needle through the quarter-mile racetrack at speeds topping 250 miles an hour, with elapsed times of less than 6 seconds. Hello, everybody. I'm Dave McClelland, and I'm located in what might be called the heart of any drag strip, the Race Control Center, or Tower. And this one here at Indianapolis Raceway Park is getting ready to supervise an exciting new program developed by the National Hot Rod Association, the Big Bud Shootout. This is an all-out, go-for-it race between 8 of the fastest funny cars in the world, and each of the drivers will be trying to have his name placed on that check for $25,000 that goes to the winner. To find out how these 8 got here today, let's join a man that knows almost everything about championship drag racing, Steve Evans.
Thank you, Dave. The 8 drivers that have attracted this huge crowd here today have been competing for this privilege all season long. At the past 9 NHRA National Championship events, a careful record has been kept as to how all funny cars qualified. At the end of qualifying, the drivers received points depending on how they performed. For example, in a 16-car field, the low ET, number 1 qualifier, received 175 points. The slowest car in the field, number 16, received 85 points. After the recent North Star Nationals, the points were tallied, and the top 8 drivers were rewarded with a chance to make $25,000 for a single afternoon's work. Well, so much about how the drivers got here. Now let's learn more about the machines they'll be competing in today. And to handle that chore, a fellow who knows, well, maybe even a little bit more than I do about this sport. He's a 2-time funny car national champion, Kenny Bernstein.
Thank you, Steve, and you're absolutely correct. These are outstanding race cars. They are certainly very much crowd pleasers, as they are very pretty, they're wild, they go fast and make noise. One of the reasons many of us enjoy driving them is because they go so fast, many times 250 miles an hour in the quarter mile. And they get there with this baby, a 2,000 horsepower nitro-burning fuel motor that with the right chassis, clutch, and fuel mixture can give you the thrill of your life in 5 seconds. So this is the funny car, a complex and sophisticated machine, and you're going to see 8 of the best in the world today. It's simply going to be phenomenal. Dave?
Thank you, Kenny, and here's where they'll be racing, Indianapolis Raceway Park. Using the standard NHRA Eliminator ladder for an 8-car field, let's take a look at the pairings. The number 4 qualifier, Tommy Anderson, goes off against number 8, Dale Baldy. The number 3 qualifier, Frank Hawley, against number 7, Al Segrini. Number 2, that's Raymond Beadle in the Blue Max against Don Prudhomme, number 6. And the number 1 qualifier, Billy Meyer, against Gary Bergen, number 5. Ready for racing in the first round of the Big Bud Shootout at Indianapolis Raceway Park. We've got 8 of the finest 250-mile-an-hour funny cars in the world. In the near lane, Tommy Anderson doing his burnout. He'll be racing against Dale Baldy in round number 1 of this 8-car field.
Dale Baldy from Van Nuys, California, grew up in the streets racing cars, but now he's driving the War Eagle and will certainly be a favorite today. Tom Anderson from Macedon, New York, is excellent on the starting line, has super reactions.
Here's Tommy Anderson. He's completing his burnout, and he's continuing to roll down the racetrack. Looks like he's out of competition. Kenny, what's the matter?
Dave, I'm not sure, not being down there, but it's obvious the engine is still running, but he's not stopping. He probably has got a brake problem.
What a disappointment for Tommy Anderson, as he's out of competition. Dale Baldy with an easy single in the first round of the Big Bud Shootout. Here's our next pair of cars. In the far lane, it's Al Segrini, while here in the near lane, it is Frank Hawley.
Frank Hawley reflects on the star-studded funny car fields in which he competed early in his career.
Back in the early 80s, the funny car fields were absolutely tremendous. They're great now, but what we had back then was what I would call all the career drivers. They were lifers. We had the Kenny Bernsteins and the Raymond Beadles, the Billy Meyers, and to be in a field like that with those names was absolutely exhilarating, because I was a young guy, came out of Canada, drove alcohol cars, got a chance to drive the Chi-Town Hustler. It was really exciting, and I just couldn't wait to get out on the racetrack and see if we could compete against these guys.
This could be a close race. Steve had a chance to ask Frank Hawley about the two cars.
We've raced Al in 2 final rounds at the national events, and we beat him twice. They've both been pretty close races. At this race, he's run a 91 and a 92. We've run an 88 and a 93. That sounds about an even draw to me. I'm just going to have to be sharp on the starting line.
And that's where so many races are won, right here on the starting line of this quarter-mile racing surface. Both cars starting from a standing start, covering 1,320 feet. In the far lane, Al Segrini, Frank Hawley. He is confident, but he knows he's up against a tough competitor in Segrini. Starting line like rockets. Frank Hawley has a bit of a lead early in the race, and at the finish line by a car length, Frank Hawley wins it, an outstanding 5.89 second elapsed time. And I think Al Segrini really hurt an engine on this run. Here you see Frank Hawley with about a car length lead at that point, and that's all he gets through the quarter mile, as Al Segrini right with him, but at the finish line, Al Segrini just fries an engine.
Climbing out of the car, getting his helmet off, the winner of the first ever side-by-side 5-second funny car race, and one step closer to $25,000, Frank Hawley.
Thank you very much. Well, I saw him for a little bit, and then drove around him, and it seemed about 300-400 feet, and I never saw him after that.
He appeared to have a slight edge off the line.
He has every time we've raced him, so that's nothing new.
All right, you'll get ready for the second round. Who do you want to race there?
I don't even know who we race. I have this superstition about worrying who we run, and all I was worried about right then was Al, and I'm sure NHRA or someone knows who we're supposed to race, and we'll be there.
Okay, Frank Hawley, one step closer to the big payoff.
Thank you, Steve. Frank moving away from the... Oh, he's going over to shake hands with Al Segrini. Well, I'll tell you, whatever Al Segrini and Bill Schultz tried, it didn't work. Our next two funny car drivers have a total of 7 world championships between them. In the near lane, Raymond Beadle with 3, and in the far lane, Don Prudhomme has 4.
Don Prudhomme from Granada Hills, California is the winningest funny car driver in the history of racing. And from my home state of Texas, Raymond Beadle and the fabulous Blue Max. And boy, I hope he has Texas power.
Well, Kenny, the two of them represent one of the longest-standing rivalries in the history of the sport. Steve talked to both of them.
You know, Snake's always our toughest competitor day in and day out. I mean, sometimes we're really hot like we've been in it early in the year. Later on in the year, we've fallen off a little bit with our low qualifying. He's come on strong here lately, so, I mean, everything comes in cycles. You're not always up and you're not always down.
To tell you the truth, we're going to try and take it easy as we can. We don't know how we're really set for this race. We're just a little bit of a loss right now. The car's running terribly good, but also it's using up parts. We have another good motor in it. We've changed some things on it. If it lives, it'll run the distance.
Of course, that's the thought on both racers' minds at the moment. If it lives, if the parts breakage problem does not enter into it, this can be a great race. And Don Prudhomme just streaks away from Raymond Beadle off the starting line. And at the finish, there's some smoke out of the headers. He may have heard it 5.97 seconds. His speed only 203 miles an hour. Our next pair of cars already started. It's Gary Bergen against the number 1 qualifier, Billy Meyer from Waco, Texas. Steve is in the turnaround area and is caught up with Don Prudhomme. Let's find out his reaction to what may have been a costly run.
Don Prudhomme removing the special breather helmet. He has survived round 1 here of this $25,000 war. Snake, a little smoke in the lights, but still a 5-second elapsed time.
That's right. I think the rods are still in it. That's the main thing. We can fix the rest.
All right, pistons are easy. It's when you start breaking the bottom end, right?
Yeah, no problem. I think it'll run a lot better next round.
Okay, Beetle always tough.
Yeah, sure he's tough, but, in this Bud Shootout, anybody that's in it's tough. And, of course, Raymond's a good racer.
Did you soften it up a little bit, take some horsepower out?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we've been just destroying parts. We just backed it up and figured that 80 or 90 would do it, and we better put a little more in it now.
You bet.
The 90 that Don Prudhomme refers to is the 5.97 elapsed time that it took him to defeat Raymond Beadle, the Blue Max. Our final pair of cars in the first round of competition, number 1 qualifier, Billy Meyer, against this car, Gary Bergen.
Gary Bergen from Stanton, California, can be considered the underdog in this race, but usually plays a role as a spoiler. Billy Meyer, yet another Texan, drives a super fast 250-mile-an-hour rocket.
A tremendous Tremendous challenge by Gary Bergen as he pulls a lead over Billy Meyer. And Gary Bergen, the upset winner over the #1 qualifier, Billy Meyer. That big win earns him a semifinals berth against Frank Hawley, while Don Prudhomme will be racing Dale Poldy. And it is Hawley against Bergen, and it is as close as you can imagine. But look at Hawley pull it out at the finish line. His elapsed time only 6 seconds flat. Maybe something went wrong with Bergen's car. Let's watch again as they near the timing traps at the end of the strip. And it is Bergen with the lead, but there you see the puff of smoke indicating maybe something went wrong.
All right, now, 6 flat, that's probably not going to win this. You're already on the payroll, but there's a big discrepancy between 25,000 and 5,000 runner-up.
Yeah, well, the race isn't over yet. Did we get runner-up? We still got a chance at winning this deal.
Oh, I know you do.
Yeah, and, you know, the 6 flat, you know, a lot of things can happen between now and the final. Good race.
All right, Gary Bergen over here to talk to Ollie. Gary, just a moment if I could. A very good race. Frank didn't even know he won.
Yeah, it blew the clutch out of it. About 1,000 foot, he just died.
Just died right there on you. So Gary Bergen, very, very disappointed because going out this round, he did not get on the payroll as Hawley will.
Mechanical problems putting Bergen on the trailer for the day. 2 cars remain in the Big Bud Shootout semifinal round. It is Dale Poldy in the far lane, Don Prudhomme in the near lane. The winner of this race will earn the right to go against Frank Hawley in the final, aiming for that $25,000 payoff. A lot of work goes on these cars between rounds of racing. And back in Dale Poldy's pit before this race, you see the motor being disassembled. Steve was there watching the action.
Dale Poldy, you got a second? Motor okay?
No, it's a little worse for wear. When it left the starting line, it shook real hard, and it broke a fuel line nozzle off in the engine and burned it to the ground.
Well, it's a good thing you got a gift round one.
Yeah, because he would have blown me away.
There's a guy across the way over here, some people call him the Snake. He says you better step on this.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough room to step on it if he runs one of those 563s on me.
The 563 referred to by Dale Poldy is the elapsed time recorded yesterday by Don Prudhomme. That is the quickest elapsed time in the history of drag racing for one of these fiberglass-bodied funny cars. In the far lane, Dale Poldy. In the near lane, Don Prudhomme. And boy, Prudhomme is glued to the ground. Poldy having problems, but Prudhomme, look at the elapsed time, 5.82 seconds. He'll have lane choice going into the final of the Big Bud Shootout against Frank Hawley. Remember, the winner takes home $25,000 in cash. Back at Indianapolis Raceway Park, I'm Dave McClelland along with Kenny Bernstein and Steve Evans, and we're set for the final showdown in the Big Bud Shootout. The rising superstar in funny car racing, Frank Hawley, driving the Chi-Town Hustler against the crafty, cagey veteran, Don the Snake Prudhomme, the 4-time world champion. Frank Hawley against Prudhomme in the Big Bud Shootout. Frank Hawley building a lead right off the starting line, and he holds on to it. Frank Hawley wins $25,000 and elapsed time of 5.85 seconds.
We can hear the crowd screaming, and soon we're going to see what a $25,000 smile looks like on the face of Frank Hawley of London, Ontario, Canada, driving the Midwest favorite funny car, the Chi-Town Hustler, and there it is. Congratulations.
Thank you, Steve.
What a car race. You outran the Snake, an 85 to a 92.
We thought we could do it. I mean, it slowed down the last round because we had to change ahead. We put it back and said, well, we'll let it burn this time.
How's it feel to be part of the richest ever side-by-side drag race?
Outstanding.